87% fail in the first 5 years. 50% fail in the first year. Many of them are often perceived less trustworthy than a car salesman, and the top earners make well over $1 million. Stick around to see what business I'll be ranking today.
This is how legends are made.
Hello, I'm Matthew, and this is the start of an awesome series where we rank businesses. Today, we're going to be ranking the real estate agent business. This is one that's near and dear to my heart because I actually have my real estate license here in the state of Utah. On my podcast, My Elevated Mindset Business Edition, I spoke with a real estate broker. He's a principal broker for one of the top brokerages in the United States. He gave really good insight on what it's like to be a real estate agent. And we're gonna break that down today and rank it as an S tier or an F tier. One of the key aspects of being a real estate agent is that it has very high income potential. It also is a great business to build wealth. You're talking to people all day long about buying houses. And maybe after you get into it long enough and you have a big enough bank account, you will be able to buy some rental properties for yourself. In return, building a ton of wealth for yourself. And also, you get to be your own boss. You can set your own hours. You can choose to work when you want, where you want. On the flip side of that, being a real estate agent is extremely competitive. There are also market fluctuations. If no one's buying a house, it's really hard to sell them that. So remember that as well. There's great earning potential and you can really earn some wealth. Let's dive into our first section that we're gonna rate. This is the complexity and the barrier to entry as a real estate agent. We're gonna break this section down into 3 points: the startup costs, the regulatory barriers, and the technical knowledge that you need to become a real estate agent. Startup costs. It cost me about $3,000 to become a real estate agent, between needing my licensing fees, getting into a school that could teach me everything that I needed for the test, paying for the exam, getting my fingerprints done. There's a ton of stuff that you need to do to legally become a real estate agent. The other thing that I want to talk about with startup costs is 99% of agents aren't going to sell a home in their first month, or the first 3 months, or maybe even the first 6 months. It takes a while to get some traction. It took me 8 months before I sold my first house, and my paycheck was around $4,000. 8 months, $4,000, it's not a lot of money. And so you need to have some money saved up, knowing that you're not gonna sell your first house in the first month or 2 or 3. Regulatory barriers. Real estate agents are heavily regulated. They have to have pre-licensing education, they have to pass state exams, and they have to have continuing education. This goes on every year. You have to get enough credits year after year in order to remain a real estate agent. Once you've passed your test, doesn't mean it's done and you're an agent forever. You have to continue learning technical knowledge. While real estate agents don't necessarily have to have a ton of technical knowledge, they do need to know about the housing market, they need to have strong negotiation skills, and they need to be able to sell. These are things that you can learn over time. There are tons of courses online that teach you how to sell. There's so much research out there about the housing market that you can learn and listen to. All in all, you don't need to have a ton of technical knowledge to become a real estate agent. Let's refresh this section and give it a grade. In my opinion, this section deserves a C. It's super easy to learn sales skills, super easy to have the knowledge that you need in order to become a good real estate agent. With time and studying, you can acquire that. The regulatory barriers. It's just a lot of studying and a lot of passing tests. Not a hard deal. Anyone can do it. If I did it, anyone can do it. Trust me. The reason that I gave this a C and not a B or an A is because the startup costs, not necessarily the initial startup costs to get your foot in the door, but the amount of money that you have to save up in order to weather the storm until you sell your first house or your first 5 houses, that's the biggest challenge to me. And that's why I'm rating this a C. This next section that we're gonna rate is operational difficulty. We have day-to-day management, employee management, and systemization. Day-to-day management. At first, when you become a real estate agent, all you're going to be doing is calling people, knocking doors, and trying to get appointments. But as you become a more seasoned vet in this world, there are a ton of day-to-day operations that need to be done. A lot of paperwork, a lot of organization, and a lot of talking to people to make sure that they are not freaking out about the most expensive thing that 99% of the world will ever buy. Employee management is the next thing that I want to talk about. Employee management as a real estate agent. Most real estate agents are a lone wolf. As you get more seasoned, you may have an assistant, you may have a secretary, you may have some people that you hire to do the cold calling for you or the door knocking for you, and you could create a team over time. But all in all, being a real estate agent, you're not going to have that many employees. There are some top tier agents in the world who have big teams, but as long as you're just a real estate agent, you're mostly gonna be a lone wolf. So employee management is pretty easy. Systemization is the next thing that I wanna talk about. As a real estate agent, systems and processes are your best friend. You need to be best friends with your CRM, you need to be best friends with AI, and you need to have good software to make sure that your appointments and those people who are making appointments with you are not falling through the cracks. You're not going to be able to remember everyone that you're talking to. You won't remember how to follow up with them. You won't remember when they called, why they're buying a house. There's so many things that you have to remember as a real estate agent. And you need to be able to have a good CRM and a good software in order to make sure that you can remember all those things. Let's rate operational difficulty. Day-to-day management. While very complex at times and long hours, it's doable. People management, employees. Most agents are solo. And so the need to have a ton of employees just isn't there. If you want an assistant or you want some people that are doing cold calls for you, then eventually you can get that. But at the end of the day, that's not a hard group of people to manage. And then finally, we have systemization. Systemization is the key to being a solid real estate agent. You have CRMs, you have softwares, and you have AI that can help you be an amazing real estate agent. For that, I'm gonna rate operational difficulty a B. This next section that we're gonna do is profitability and risk analysis. You have income potential, risk factors, and income stability. Profit potential. The profit potential of a real estate agent is extremely high. In 2019, there was a real estate agent out of Dallas, Texas, whose name is Ben Caballero. He sold 5,778 new homes worth $2.249 billion. This is insane. This guy, depending on his fees and his split structure at his brokerage, made a ton of money. Financial stability is our next subject. This is where being a real estate agent gets a little bit rocky for me. Financial stability is hard as a real estate agent. You're gonna have your super high months where 10, 15 people buy a home from you, or you're listing a home and selling it, right? Then you're gonna have times where the interest rates are high, maybe the housing prices have gone too high, and people aren't buying homes. You're going to need to have a backup plan to weather this storm. You're not always gonna be having a consistent paycheck coming in. And so financial stability probably ranks pretty low on the list. The next one is risk factors, and that ties right into what we talked about with financial stability. Is it risky to become a real estate agent? According to the data, 50% of all real estate agents fail in the first year. And I think it's 77% in the next 3 to 5 years fail completely. The odds are not in your favor as a real estate agent, and it's highly risky. Ranking the real estate agent business from a profitability and risk factor standpoint. Here I am with this. If you're talking about profitability, the income potential is through the roof. You can make millions and millions of dollars being a real estate agent. But the income instability is so high. The risk of you failing is also so high. And so I would mark that down as an F on that side, but as the income potential, I would put it as almost an S tier. And so let's meet in the middle. Let's put it as a C tier. That's where I would be with the income potential and the risk factor with it all. This next section, we're going to be talking about marketing and sales skills that are required to be a successful real estate agent. Marketing complexity and the sales skills that are required to be a real estate agent are high. You need to know how to sell, right? If you can't sell, you can't sell real estate. Now, for the marketing side of things, you need to be able to get your name out there. If people don't know who you are, if people don't know that you're a real estate agent, you're not going to sell any houses. You need to be able to walk up to strangers at a gas station, strike up a conversation with them. They will tell you, I'm actually in the neighborhood looking for a house. It's the craziest thing, it happens all the time. And then you tell them that you're a real estate agent. They'll probably tell you that they know a million real estate agents or they have a real estate agent in their family, whatever it is, but this is where the sales skills come into play. Why are you the person for the job? Why can you do better than their family member? And why shouldn't they work with a family member or their close friend in the first place? Marketing and sales skills are very much required as a real estate agent. When ranking this part of the business, marketing and sales, I would give it a D. And I'll give it a D tier because if you don't know how to sell and you don't know how to market yourself, you're not going to get people in the door that want to either buy a house from you or use you to list their house. This is where I think real estate agents either fail or they do amazing. It's based on their sales skills and it's based on their marketing ability. One of the things that you need to do, in my opinion, is you need to find a brokerage that will help you with your sales skills. Do they have a program? Do they have some type of training material so that you can hone those skills every day and get better? You need to do a lot of role playing. You need to be able to handle a ton of objections, and you need to be able to sell and market yourself. This is the hard part of being a real estate agent, in my opinion. This last section that I want to cover is about future growth. Are you going to become a real estate agent and spend your time and money to just be forgotten about in a few years? My personal opinion on this is that the future is bright for real estate agents. If you are a good, solid real estate agent that knows your numbers, that knows how to help people, that has good sales skills, that has good customer service skills, I think there is a need for sales professionals such as real estate agents in the world. In my state, there is a ton of growth. There's houses being built every single day. There's houses for sale. There's houses that people want to buy. I think the future is very bright for real estate agents. Is there going to be shakeups? Yes, they have already happened. There's a huge NAR settlement that has already happened that's changing the way that real estate agents get paid. That doesn't mean that they still can't get paid. They just have to shift and be adaptable. The future growth of the real estate agent is hot, and I would give this an A. Time to rank this business and give it an overall tier. Now remember, this ranking is deciding whether a new business owner, maybe this is your first business or you're just getting into the world of entrepreneurship, is a good business for you to start. I would give this a B-. There is a ton of profitability potential that you can earn as a real estate agent. Most of the things that you need to learn are easy to learn. There are a ton of courses and a ton of people to help you learn all the required things such as sales and marketing to become a profitable real estate agent. The reason that I'm not giving it an S or an A tier is because of the risk and the instability of income. Becoming a real estate agent is very risky. Most people fail. That's just the industry statistics. The instability of income, you're gonna have years where you make a ton of money, and then you're gonna have years where you hardly make any money at all. This is what makes it super risky. And for that, I'm ranking this a B. Thank you for watching this video. In the comments below, I want you to chime in and tell me what you would rank the real estate agent business. Would you give it an S tier or would you give it more towards an F tier? Let me know, I'd love to hear. And if you're someone that wants to start their first business, but you just don't know how to do it, head on over to myelevatedmindset.com and sign up for your free guide to get your first big idea to start your first business. And if you already have an amazing idea for a business and you just don't know how to get it rolling, head on over to my website. Again, it's myelevatedmindset.com and hit the coaching tab. Fill out the information and I'd be happy to get back to you.